everybody. Here we are for race number 7. We're at Snetterton today. We are looking at a little bit smaller field this week, much like we had the week before in the night race. We still got 13 drivers, pretty good. This week was a bad week for me personally, so I missed out on a lot of the racing at this track, so this is going to be kind of a surprise for me too. I missed out on Saturday night's race and missed out on Friday night's practice and Wednesday night's races, and pretty much had nothing to do with any of the action this week. So very excited to see what comes of it and how these guys perform on this track. Snetterton's a pretty fun track if you've never run it. Kind of a rhythm track, and we know some of these guys are really good on rhythm tracks. We know Mike Doherty's really good on a rhythm track. We know Jon Snow is just about unbeatable on a rhythm track. Every time you get on a track where it's all about building a rhythm and a momentum, it seems like Jon ends up winning, but he's actually qualified in third tonight. Let's go ahead and run down the order. We're looking at Mike Wojcik on the pole, Mike Doherty in second, Jon Snow in third, Andre Marcheshin in fourth, Alex Moda in fifth, Ken North in sixth, Stefan Buckley in seventh, Pedro Perez in eighth, Nick Driveman in ninth, Samuel Rock in 10th, Ben Wolf in 11th, Bruce Hopkins in 12th, and Johnson Liu in 13th. So that's our running order for tonight. We are going to be running same race as always. It's a 60-minute race with a 20-minute pit window in the middle. So you got 20 minutes of racing, then a 20-minute pit window, and then 20 more minutes of racing after the pit window closes. So a lot of different variations of pit strategies and tire strategies and fuel strategies and all that are able to play out during the course of the race. Oh, you see Wojcik goes around and hits the wall head on the warm-up lap, and he's got damage on the front of that car. That is not how he wanted this to start, that's for sure. He's got to be beside himself right now with that. That's a pretty bad turn of events. He's still going to start in first, but we'll see how much that damage affects his ability to race. Let's take a look at the different camera views here. You know, the top three guys, Wojcik, Doherty, and Snow, we expect those guys to be where they are, but we've got some really fast guys behind them in Marcheshin, Moda, North, and even Stefan Buckley. Even Pedro Perez has been up in the top 5 a couple of times this season. So some fast drivers in the top 7 or 8 positions. Not that the guys behind them aren't fast, but they're not typically in the front half of the pack in most cases. We know Johnson Liu, take a look at him. He always starts in the back, but he has a real talent for running people down as the race goes on, so we'll see what he's able to do from last place in this race. He's going to be all by himself on the last row back there, so we'll see what he's able to do. You see these guys trying to get the tires warmed up and the brakes warmed up. Snetterton is a pretty fun track. It does have a few tricky corners that cause quite a bit of problems for some drivers. We'll see how these guys are able to handle that. But definitely some areas where you're moving at really high speeds and then have to get down to like third gear or second gear, go through a fairly high speed corner, and then right back up to high speeds again. A lot of long sweeping turns. This particular turn they're on right now is a long sweeping set of right-handers that leads to a really hard, it's a high speed section, so you're you're flying through these right-handers. You come around this final right-hand turn, and then you got a hard braking zone and a really sharp left-hander before you come down the front stretch. So that's a pretty challenging section of track. A lot of time can be made or lost there. You see these guys getting formed up as they're moving down towards the start. We are waiting for the green flag. We know it's coming soon, and there it is. So there's the green flag. We're off and racing. You see Mike Doherty gets a good start. Able to hold on to the second. Marchician making the move on Snow on the outside. He's going to take the position. He's up into third. You see Doherty run a little bit wide. So does Marchician on that turn there. Some of these very slow sweeping turns on this track can really give you a fit if you didn't get enough practice time. So very important that these guys get enough practice time for this race. It's a very tricky track. We got some battles going on behind this here. Let's see, we are looking at Stefan Buckley, who's in 7th right now. That's not the battle I was trying to get to. There's Alex Moda. He is in 5th at the moment. He's got Ken North on him, and he's trying to see if he can catch up to John Snow. You see Wojcik maintaining first, doing a pretty good job of it. You see the pack kind of spread out back here. See Pedro side by side look like, maybe not. Maybe that was not as close as it looked from that angle. You do see Johnson Liu all the way up in the 10th place already, so he's already gained 3 spots, and we're not even 1 lap into the race, so he's doing a really good job of doing what he normally does. You see Wojcik leading them down the front here. Oh, and Doherty off the wall, or off the track and into the wall. And I'm not sure what happened to Doherty. That must be a mechanical failure or a connection issue, because he is just, yeah, he's gone. Looks like he's lost his connection or something. So unfortunate. That's the second time Doherty's had an unfortunate break during one of these races where he had a connection issue or the game crashing on him. You see Marchician under pressure from John. Take a ride on board with Snow. See this really high-speed area right here. I'm going to slow it down, but it's still a high-speed corner coming down to 2nd, then all the way down to 1st in the hard right-hand turn. See the amount of speed these guys carry through these narrow parts of the track. The track's pretty narrow, long sweeping turns, and then into this hard left-hander right here. John doing a good job of keeping it nice and steady. We see behind that, Moda has fallen back a little bit off of John Snow. He's still got Ken North right behind him. Pedro has fallen quite a ways back off of Ken North. He's now about 3 seconds behind Ken. We got Stefan Buckley all over Nick Driveman right now. That's the battle for 7th place. Not a whole lot of pressuring going on by anybody on the track. Everybody's pretty smoothed out. Looks like Johnson Liu had some type of an incident or something, because he's all the way back into 12th place now. Doherty's in the pits. He's effectively out of the race for now. Johnson had gained three spots, and now he's back in last place. Not sure what happened to him. Take a look back towards the front here. See Wojcik with a pretty good lead. He's up to almost 1.8 seconds he's leading by. Taking a look through the field here. Not a lot of real tight battles, but this one here between Buckley and Driveman is pretty good. Behind this, we've got another good one between Bruce Hopkins, who is right on the bumper of Samuel Rock. Buckley ends up off the, or excuse me, Hopkins ends up off the the track a little bit there. That's going to slow him down and give Samuel a little more room to breathe, maybe. Well, maybe not. He's right back on him. Okay, so this battle up here for 2nd place between Jon Snow and Andre is still going on pretty good. You see Wojcik's got it up to 2.1 seconds right now. So he's slowly but surely pulling away from these guys. So we know coming into this race that we were looking at Mike Wojcik was in first in the point standings. 2nd place was I believe it was Mike Doherty, and then 3rd place was Jon Snow. Mike reclaimed 2nd place in the points because John had a bad finish. He had a pit lane penalty in the dark at Imola, and that put him back into 3rd place. So that's our current battle. After the race, we'll have an updated look at the points after the results of this race to see where everybody stands. We're just about to the point of crowning a champion. We got one race next week, and that's going to kind of determine it all. We'll see what how this unfolds. Last season we had a really close three-way battle, and Jon Snow ended up beating David Macedo by 1 point for the championship. David was right there, and there were so many things that could have gone differently in that final race that would have given David the championship, or even Mike Doherty, I think, had a shot. If John and David had bad finishes, Mike Doherty could have won the championship last season. So it was a very close battle last season, and not quite as close this year as it was last year, especially for the top three. The top three of Wojcik, Snow, and Doherty are all pretty far ahead of the guys behind them. They've kind of maintained a lead all season long. So we've had Wojcik and Snow win multiple races each, and Doherty, I'm not sure if Mike has won more than one race this season. I'm trying to remember. I know he won one, but I can't remember if he won more than that. But he's been in the top 2 or 3 every race, so he stayed right in the hunt in the points all season long. This is the same thing David Macedo did last season. David won one race last season. He won the night race at Kyalami. But other than that, David was just top 5 every single race, usually top 3. And he ended up, like I said, losing the championship by 1 point. He almost won the whole thing with only one victory. So it just shows, how consistent racing, how it pays off in a points system like this. If you can keep yourself in the front race after race, then you put yourself in a really good position to win it all. So you see Marchician has closed that gap down on Wojcik. It's now down to 1.007, so he's closing down on Wojcik. Snow is a little bit behind Marchician now. He's back to 1.9 seconds. So Marchician may have just found some speed that he didn't have before. Andre has been showing really great speed the last few weeks, even on tracks that he didn't have much track time. We know at Imola, he barely had any track time before the race, and the same with David Macedo, and they both performed really well despite that. So, I'm not sure how much track time Andre got this week, but he's running down Wojcik, which is not an easy thing to do. Wojcik is really fast and really hard to beat. So you see John, he's fallen a little further back. He's back to 2.3 now behind Marchician. We still have some battles going on back here. Well, it said we had a battle going on back here. We got Samuel Rock, who's behind Nick Driveman. Something is not quite right with this. I don't think it's updated the positions for these guys. We've got Johnson Liu, who's still running in 10th. He is behind Bruce Hopkins. So after gaining 3 positions right off the bat, he's kind of settled down and hasn't really gained much since then. So maybe 1 position since then. So back here at the front, Marchician's now only 0.6 behind Wojcik. Let's take a look on board with Marchician. Trying to put the pressure on Mike Wojcik. Really tough set of corners right here. You come into that with so much. Oh, and Marchician ends up off the track. Able to get back on pretty quickly, but that's going to kill all the progress he made on Wojcik. He was right up on him. Now he's falling back. we'll see how much when the time updates, how much that gap is extended to. Oh, and he gets loose again and ends up out in the grass. So that is going to give John Snow second place. Marchician trying to get back on the track. He's going to come back in fifth place. That's going to give Alex Moda third place and Ken North fourth place. So Marchician with a couple of bad corners. Looked like maybe he just overdrove the car a little bit and lost the tail end, but it's hard to say. Maybe overheated tires. It's really hard to say what happened there, but just a couple of corners in a row where he just quite couldn't hold it on the track. So it's going to spread everybody out a little bit. Now John Snow is 3.1 seconds behind Wojcik, so there's not too much going on there. We got Moda, who's behind Snow, who's followed by Ken, but Ken's about a second and a half behind Alex. And everybody else throughout the running order, from what I can see, is 2+ seconds, unless there's a close one here. No. So 2 point something or more between every position right now, except this one right here. Ken's still trying to keep in touch with Alex Moda. Moda's been able to keep just in front of him so far. So let's take a look on board. We'll ride with Alex for a whole lap and just kind of see what it's like going around this track at a really good speed. So he's coming down the front stretch here, sweeping right-hander. He's able to keep it in fourth through there, back on the gas, and then down all the way into first gear for this long, really tight right-hander. This is a tricky turn right here. You got to maintain pretty good speed through here, but it's not banked or anything, so it's very flat, tough corner. Same thing with this one here, all the way down into second or first. I think he's in, yeah, he's in first, so he's going to take that one in first. A tight left-hander. Back up to speed, down into third through this sweeper. Back down to first through here. You see how aggressive you have to be on your downshifts coming through some of these turns. Maintains pretty good speed through there. And now this long high-speed stretch right here. This is one of the hardest sections of the whole track right here. You get up to 150 miles an hour or so, and then you're hard on the brakes, quick high-speed sweeper, and then a hard right-hander directly after that. It's easy to lose the tail end of the car right there. And then you've got this series of right-hand turns, all different shapes and sizes, and you're maintaining pretty high speed through here, and then a really hard braking zone down into first for the last turn, and then back onto the front stretch. So that's a whole lap around Snetterton, courtesy of Alex Moda. He did a great job of showing not only how to do it, but how to do it really fast. So we appreciate that. Taking a look at Snow, he's 3.2 off of Wojcik right now. So Wojcik, despite that incident in the pre-race warm-up, has been able to maintain good speed. I mean, he's not pulling away that much, but I don't really expect him to pull away from John. John is a really fast driver, and John gets faster as the race goes on. So we'll see if he's got anything to offer Wojcik as this plays out. Take a look at Pedro here. He's kind of in no man's land. The closest guy around him is Marchician, and he's 6.1 seconds ahead of Pedro. So everybody's pretty spread out so far in this race. Hopefully the the pit strategies, varying pit times and stuff like that will kind of tighten some of these battles back up. This is the kind of track where it's not only mistakes, you know, big mistakes that cost you time, but just on these long sweeping turns, if you are just a little too cautious on the gas, or if you're a little too heavy on the brake into one of these hard, you know, turns or something like that, because it's a rhythm style track, you lose so much time if you do that kind of stuff a couple of times a lap. And that's kind of why it looks like everybody's spread out so far in this race. Is there's just a lot of separation between everybody, as far as one guy's a little tighter through this area. These two guys have been really close throughout the race so far, Moda and Ken North, maintaining a really similar pace and sticking together. We saw Marchician, who was gaining on Wojcik before he had that off the track. He's now 4.1 seconds behind Ken North, so we'll keep an eye on that to see if he's able to gain on Ken and Moda or not, because he was showing great speed up there in the front. See what he can do now, try to recover from that off the track incident. So he was able to keep it out of the wall or anything detrimental like that, just ended up in the grass, way out in the grass. So we'll see if he can, how much he can recover from that. See, Marchician's cutting that lead down to Ken North. He's got it down to 3.7 now. It was just 4.1, so he's already taken it down 4/10. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. He's making good headway on Ken North right now. See what he can do with these guys. He's got a lot of laps left to make up time on them. Let's check on this. Now, John Snow is cutting down on the lead for Wojcik all of a sudden. He's got it down to 2.5 seconds. It was showing 2.3 there for a second. So he's making some progress on Wojcik. We're only 12 laps into the race. We're going to complete 33 laps tonight. So 12 out of 33. We still got quite a ways to go. 21 laps to go, so and we still have pit strategies to play out and see how that all works out. Moda pulled a little bit more of a gap on Ken North now. He's 1.5 seconds ahead of Ken. Meanwhile, Marchician is only 2.3 seconds behind these guys, so he's catching these guys at a pretty fast clip. There you see Moda going into the pits. So Moda is one of the first ones to pit so far. You got Wojcik and Snow out in front. North and Marchician. So Moda traditionally takes tires on his pit stops, and he's really fast at the end of the race because of taking tires, he's got more speed than a lot of these guys, because a lot of these guys do not take tires. So we'll see how that plays out in this race. Still a lot of racing left to go. You see Wojcik has got the lead back up to 3.0, so he's pulled back away from about a half a second. He's gained on John Snow again. You see Johnson Liu in front of Wojcik right here. Not sure what happened to Johnson, but he is not normally this far behind to where the leaders would be catching him so early, but he's had some kind of incidents or something happen throughout the course of this race, because he's not having the normal type of race we're used to seeing from him. John has got it back down to 2.3 seconds, so he's kind of making up time on Wojcik in chunks, it looks like. Down to 2.3 again. He was just 3 seconds behind, so that's 7/10 he's made up in the last 3/4 of a lap or so. Wojcik is either not being very consistent or John is just being very fast. It's hard to say which one it is. You see Wojcik trying to put a little pressure on Johnson here to let him get past. Johnson's not really holding him up to this point. He's just running his race. Doesn't look like he's holding him up anyway. Okay, so Johnson giving him the turn signal there, letting him know, take him to the left, and he does. So that's going to get Wojcik through here. He's back up to 2.7 seconds in front of Snow. So John's going to have to catch and get past Johnson Liu. You see Johnson trying to keep pace with the leader. See if he can improve his own lap times a little bit here. There you see John Snow going into the pits. So John coming into the pits now. That's going to change the fortunes for some of these guys, at least temporarily. We got Ken North and Andre Marchishin who are staying out. Ken has been run down by Marchishin. Marchishin has finally caught up to him. Now we know Moda was in the thick of this battle before he pitted, but now Moda's back because of the pit stop. These guys are going to have to pit too, so that it's all going to shake out in a few minutes here. But Marchishin's still showing great pace, trying to recover from that incident he had earlier. He was in second place when he had the off track, so let's see how far up in the field he can get. He's already in third currently, but I don't know if that's a legitimate third because of the pit stops and everything. He's not going to be ahead of John Snow after he pits. Speaking of John, he is back on the track and he's in front of Stefan Buckley. So John only in fourth place even after his pit stop. He's going to be back in good position once these other guys pit. Let's take a look on board. Marchishin. Close driving between these guys. He's looking down the left side, this high speed area right here. This is going to be a little bit tricky trying to get through here. Hard right hander, he makes the pass. Ken smartly dives in behind him. This is not the kind of part of the track you want to be side by side. You see Andre runs wide there, able to hold on to it. He's going to stay out another lap, so is Ken. got Wojcik, still hasn't pitted. He's still out in first. Got Johnson Liu, who's right behind Wojcik. He's still maintaining speed with Wojcik pretty good. So we got Moda, who pitted, and we know he took tires. He is currently being shown in 8th place. Now, several people ahead of him still have to pit. We'll see where he's at once everything sorts itself out, but we've seen Alex do this several times where he takes tires where a lot of the guys around him do not, and then over the course of the second half of the race, he's just hunting people down, making passes and making up positions, and he's able to do that and pretty consistently finish in the top 5, sometimes in the top 3. So it's interesting, the tire strategy. You know, for example, Moda today, he was in either 3rd or 4th place when he pitted. I think he was in 3rd place when he pitted. So the question is, when all these guys ahead of him pit, can he get back up to 3rd place? And so far this season, the answer has been yes. Most of the time, he's able to make those positions back up and get right back where he was. But the race is not long enough for taking tires to be a big enough advantage that he can gain positions. It's more or less kind of a wash at the end, so what it seems to be. So he had a race a couple of weeks ago where he pitted in 4th place, and then he passed 3 or 4 different people in the second half of the race and finished in 4th place, right where he had been. So interesting. You know, it just depends on what you want your car to feel like and what you want your race to be like. I can almost guarantee you that he's having more fun in the second half of the race than a lot of these guys, because a lot of these guys are milking worn tires to the finish, whereas Alex is getting really aggressive and hunting people down the whole second half of the race. So that's definitely more fun than having to maintain old tires. But oh, and you see Ken North got a 30-second stop and go penalty for speeding in pit lane. That is unfortunate. That's going to mess up the battle that was going on between him and Marcheshin and Moda. So he's going to have to serve that penalty. Meanwhile, Marcheshin is 15.4 seconds off of Wojcik. You see Wojcik not pitting again, so he's going to stay out. Let's kind of go through the running order here and see who pits and who doesn't. Here comes Marcheshin. He is not going to pit. We know John already did. He's all the way back up to 3rd now. So John's going to be tough to beat here tonight. He's already up into 3rd and he's already pitted. So some of these guys ahead of him still have to pit. So Stefan Buckley running in 4th right now. That's really good for him. Up in the top 5. We got Ken, who's shown in 5th, but we know that's not going to hold because he's got to serve that 30-second penalty. That's going to put Pedro up into the top 5. And then we've got Bruce Hopkins, followed by Alex Moda. Moda trying to run him down. Now Hopkins, I don't think, has pitted yet, so Alex is going to get him one way or the other. He's going to get Bruce. So then behind that is Johnson Liu, but we know Johnson Liu was running close to the leader. He still is. He's not. He's a few car lengths behind Wojcik. So being shown in 9th place, but as far as track position, he's, you know, behind the leader. So he's way behind the front runners in this race right now. And then we got Samuel Rock and Ben Wolf in the 2 McLarens. These guys are trying to hold on. You see here, Johnson Lou is being shown 58.5 seconds behind Ken North, so there's a huge gap from 8th to 9th place. Now, Ken is going to have to serve that penalty. That's going to go away. Actually, Ken served the penalty and is coming out now, and here comes Johnson to pass him on pit exit. Let's see if he's able to make that pass. He's easily able to make that pass. So Ken is going to fall back to 9th place and have to try to hunt some people down and make his way back towards the front. That's also going to put Ken a lap down because he just got passed by the leader. So let's see what else is going on here. So Wojcik hasn't pitted yet. Let's see if he pits this lap. Okay, so Andre has pitted. That's going to put John Snow up into 2nd place. So John, having already pitted, is all the way up into 2nd. So John's showing a ton of speed here, like he's done so many times this season, just showing blazing speed. You see somebody off the track there in the background. So is Wojcik going to pit? Take a look here. He's coming through this series of right-hand turns that lead into that hard left-hander right before the front stretch. So this is going to be the section of track where if he's going to pit, this is where he's going to do it. He's coming down and he is going to pit. So Wojcik coming in. That's going to give Ken his lap back. So that's good for Ken. It's going to put him back on the lead lap. Let's see here. So here's Wojcik in the pits. Here comes John Snow. Where is John in relation to Ken or to Wojcik? Wojcik coming out of the pits. John is coming past pit entry right here. He's going to have a head of steam coming down the front stretch. Wojcik coming out slow. Wojcik's going to come out but stay on the inside. Snow's going to come out right behind him. So Wojcik just able to maintain the lead after pitting. John must have had a really good in lap and a really good out lap on his pit stop because he made up a lot of time with his pit stop, and we know Wojcik's pit stops are usually really quick. So John having a great race so far. Right now, after all this stuff has sorted itself out, it's showing Pedro Perez in 3rd place right now. I'm not sure if Pedro has pitted, but I'm sure. Oh, you see Stefan Buckley got a stop and go 30-second penalty. So he's shown in 4th currently, but that's going to hurt his position. That's going to give Marchishin 4th place. Whoa, so you see John right up on Wojcik. Let's keep an eye on this battle for a minute here. Really close racing between these guys. Coming through some pretty nervous sections of the track right here. That's going to separate him a little bit. John maybe backed off a little bit because he was so close. Battle's cooled down a little bit. Snow's still keeping pace with him. He's being shown 0.8 seconds behind him right now. So not a whole lot separating these guys. See if we can see the updated time split for Pedro, how far behind he is. Take a look on board with John as he's working on trying to find his way around Wojcik. He's showing more speed than Wojcik right now. He was able to catch him and fell back off of him and then caught him again, so he's showing great pace. You see Wojcik running a little wide there coming onto the front stretch. Staying in the slipstream coming into this high-speed right-hander right here. He's gonna nice and smooth through there. Wojcik's gonna run wide on that tight right-hander. That's gonna put them side by side. John coming up on his right side. Wojcik gets a good run out of the turn. Going to maintain the position for now. That's going to let him keep first, but he's got John all over him. John is just a little bit quicker through some of these rhythm sections. Wojcik is doing a pretty good job of keeping him at bay for now, but you see a little bit of what looks like rubber banding or something on Wojcik's car there. He's kind of hopping back and forth as it's going down the track. Not sure what that's about. John so smooth through this long sweeping right-hand section, all these right-hand turns, and then into the front stretch once again with a good run on Wojcik. Misjudged that turn just a little bit, gave Wojcik a little bit of breathing room. Tighter through that turn, going to make up some time on him through there. Gets a good exit here, making up a little time once again. He's just faster through some of these turns than Wojcik is. Able to close down the gap on him pretty good. See these guys coming down this long straight here. John all over him. We've got about 10 laps to go, and these guys are in the heat of battle right now. A lot of racing left to be done. Let's take a quick. Oh, you see Wojcik run wide there, coming onto the front stretch. He ran wide there earlier too. John, instead of staying in the slipstreams, looking around the outside, trying to see if he can get a run on him on this first turn. Wojcik runs wide in that hard right-hander again. That's going to let John get up alongside him. It's a drag race to the left-hander coming up. Wojcik's going to maintain. We've seen that happen a couple of times in that same spot where Wojcik runs wide on that really tight right-hand turn. John gets alongside, but then the next turn is a left-hander, which gives Wojcik the advantage. So two really good drivers doing battle. This is John just probing for any weakness, trying to figure out a way to get Wojcik to make a mistake or to give up the position one way or the other. John obviously has the pace to get by him. We see John, we know that he seems to get faster and faster as the race goes on. Not necessarily in lap times, because as you know, he's using an old set of tires, so there's no way your lap times would actually get faster as the race goes on. But he's getting faster in comparison to everyone else on the track. So you see him make a little bit of a mistake there. He's going to fall back off of Wojcik. He kind of looked like he was trying to fake the inside and got himself off his driving line a little bit there. That's going to give Wojcik some breathing room that I'm sure he's very happy to get. So John's going to have to get back to work and try to run him down again. While this is slowing down a little bit, let's go back here and take a look at Bruce Hopkins running in 7th place. He's got Johnson Liu all over him. See Hopkins gets off the tires off the track for a second there. Johnson gonna make a move on the left side, gets a great run out of that turn, and that's gonna be the position right there. That was pretty cut and dry, not a lot of drama. Maybe Hopkins let him have it, I don't know. He's been hounding him for a few laps. I was watching the splits, but I didn't want to miss out on the battle for first, which is still going on. John's got it back down to 1.4 seconds. Trying to get back within touch of Wojcik again. You see how much tighter John is through some of these turns. Wojcik running wide here and there. And John, his car setup is just so good. He's, even on worn tires, he's keeping the car really tight to the apex of the turns. Really consistently smooth with that. So coming up here, this is where Wojcik has had issues. Not this turn. This turn he's been okay, but the next one, this hard right-hander that's coming up, John gets a good run through there. And this is where Wojcik has run wide a few times. Coming in, runs wide again on exit, but able to maintain his speed through there a little better that time. Holds on to the position. John not able to get alongside. So this is about as good as it gets for a battle for first place. The two guys leading in the top 3 in points, leading the race, second to last race of the season, battling it out. It doesn't get much better than that. Keeping an eye on the rest of the field, there is one other battle going on. Let's take a look at it. We've got Pedro trying to get past some lap traffic here because he's got Andre all over him. Driveman runs a little wide. Andre tries to follow him. Driveman ends up off the track. Pedro is holding on to it, but Andre is side by side in a drag race right now with him. Coming down this long high-speed section, they're side by side, and Andre is going to make the pass. So that was for third place. So we'll see if Andre can hold on to it, and he's able to get past Pedro. We know he had quite a bit better pace than Pedro did earlier in the race. Meanwhile, Alex Mota is up to 5th place now after pitting and taking tires. He is 11.6 seconds behind Pedro with about 6 laps to go. So I don't think he's going to be able to catch Pedro with 6 laps to go, but we'll see what happens. He would have to be moving at a plus. Now it's 10.1 seconds, so he'd have to make up about 2 seconds per lap, which I don't know if with new tires he's going to be that much faster than Pedro, but we'll keep an eye on it just the same. Meanwhile, up here in the front, John is still all over Wojcik. See Wojcik getting a little wide there coming down. John's going to get in front of him, and he's going to be able to make the pass there through that series of right-hand turns. That's not somewhere you would think you'd be able to pass, but he was able to get it done. Let's take a look at that from on board. So Wojcik gets a little wide, has to get on the brakes a little bit late in that turn. That gives John a good run on him right here. And as they're going through these right-hand turns, Wojcik just ends up a little wide again. See him tapping on the brakes to keep from losing the track. And then John able to just make it around the outside into that sharp turn. That's going to give Snow the lead. So now we'll see if Wojcik has anything for him. Snow's had the faster pace. He's been hounding Wojcik for quite a while now. We'll see if Wojcik's got the kind of pace that it will take to pass him. These guys have been pretty similar in speed for the last, bunch of laps. So you see Wojcik looking down the inside right there on that sweeper, but not going to be able to make that stick. See John not really able to pull away, but he's got a little bit of a lead built up on Wojcik, enough that he's not under pressure completely. So a little bit of breathing room, only about a second. So Meanwhile, Alex Mota has cut the lead to Pedro down to 7.1 seconds, but there's only about 4 laps to go. So I don't think Alex is going to have quite enough time to catch Pedro. But we will see. Take a look back through the field. So we got Jon Snow in first, Wojcik in second, Andre Marchishin running in third, Pedro Perez 3.2 seconds behind him in fourth. Alex Mota is now only 5.8 seconds behind Pedro in fifth place, with about 3 laps to go. So I don't think there's enough time for him to catch Pedro, but if Pedro makes a mistake, Alex is going to get the position. So, because he's really cooking with those new tires. He's doing pretty good right now. After that, we've got Ken North, Johnson Liu, Bruce Hopkins, who's about to be dealing with the leaders, and then we've got Ben Wolf. That's our current running order. You see John still maintaining that lead of about a second, just under a second on Wojcik. Wojcik just trying to stay within reach so that if John makes a mistake, he can take the win. It's going to be really close for a couple of these battles that Alex Mota, Pedro Perez won in particular. Keep a close eye on that. Moto's now got it down to 4.4 seconds, so he's got 3 laps to go, 4.4 seconds to make up. So he may get to Pedro right at the end of the race. We'll see what happens here. See Pedro up ahead there. There's Pedro, and there's Alex. So that is the battle for 4th place right now. It doesn't seem like a battle right now, but Alex is moving at a much quicker pace than Pedro is because of those new tires. So he has a pretty big advantage. He's got it cut down to 3.7 seconds with about 2 laps to go. Pedro just trying to hold on just a little bit longer, just keep it consistent and hold on a little bit longer on those older tires. There's not much you can do except just run your race and hope that the guy runs out of time before he catches you. See what the updated time split is. So it's showing 3.1 seconds right now. So about 1.5 seconds per lap to catch Pedro. Just don't know if that's going to quite be enough. He's definitely gaining on him at a good clip, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough to catch him. John has got the lead up to 1.9 seconds on Wojcik now. With 1 lap to go, he has just got to finish his race. If he can just maintain, he's going to come away with another win here. And that's going to help him quite a lot as far as the points for the championship goes. You see John's kind of sliding out of that turn right there. Don't want to do that right now. You want to keep it nice and clean and smooth. Just try to hold on till the end. You see Pedro, the lead he has on Moda. It's just going to be a little too much for Moda to make up, looks like. Unless Pedro makes a mistake. So Snow coming down this long backstretch back here. Got some slow traffic in front of him that was just off the track. Somebody off the track there. It's going to let these guys get by cleanly. Moda's got it cut down to 1.2 seconds on Pedro. It's going to be close. They're on the final lap. Here comes John to take the checkered flag. It's going to be another win for John Snow. Great race by him. Great race by Wojcik that's going to come in second. Marchician kind of in no man's land right now. He's kind of far away from everybody, but he's in third place. Great race to come in third. Nice podium finish, especially after a couple of off-the-track incidents that could have been detrimental, that could have been catastrophic, but he was able to recover and had a good finish coming in third. And now we'll go to this battle here. Moda has actually caught up to Pedro on these last few corners here. This is the last turn. Pedro just going to be able to hold on to it. In the final straight, if Moda had had another lap, he would have passed him. So Pedro, both lucky and good to get fourth place. Moda just ran out of time. Ken North is going to come in sixth. You see him? Oh, that's the end of the replay there. So let's take a look back, like we always do, to the beginning of the race. We are going to ride on board with... Let's ride on board with Moda. See things from his perspective. I always say that a great race starts with a great start, and you know, in sim racing, historically, starts are not great. We see so many turn one incidents and so many selfish drivers that ruin it for everybody. And we've been really fortunate in this league to have a lot of clean drivers that respect each other, and they put on great races because they're able to get through lap one without a huge crash. So you see the green flag there. Riding on board with Moda, you see Andre get a great start in the Mercedes. Mercedes is very good off the start of the races. Andre's been able to get really great starts all season long in that Mercedes. You see John falling back to fourth place there. He would eventually go on to win the race. You see Doherty running wide and Andre running wide through that hard right-hand turn there. Wojcik out in front. See some side-by-side racing behind the Moda with Ken North and Stefan Buckley. They've sorted that out. So a great start to the race. Everybody kept it clean and then settled into their race, and everybody did really well. So definitely nothing we can complain about there. So now we're gonna flip things over to the results for the race and the point standings going into the last race. So what the point standings are after this race, we're gonna see that next. If you guys enjoyed this, please join us next week for the finale for season 2, and then In a couple of weeks after that, we'll be starting season 3. Not exactly sure how long after the end of season 2, but pretty quick, less than a month probably. So we'll have season 3 coming, and hopefully we'll have some new tracks and some new cars for season 3. Not sure what this new uh, DLC is going to contain that's coming for ACC, but we're all excited to see what's in it and how it's going to change things for everyone. So we look forward to seeing you next week, and I'm going to hand things over to the point standings. So thanks for watching. All right, guys, here we are looking at our standings after the race here at Snetterton. Next week is the final race. We're looking at finishing up at Suzuka. So we will crown a champion after next week's race. But let's take a look at the results after Snetterton has been finished. Right now we're looking at Mike Wojcik in first place with 184 points. John Snow in second with 169. Mike Doherty in third with 148. There's a pretty good drop off to fourth place where Andre's got 103 points. Ken North has 99. Pedro Perez has 88. David Macedo has 82. After that, we've got Johnson Liu, Alex Moda in 9th, Evan Miller in 10th, DJ Young in 11th. Right behind him, with 1 point behind, is Ben Wolf. Then 1 point behind him is Joe Marsiglia. So this is a close matchup to watch between these three guys coming into the last race. Couple points behind that, we've got Nick Driveman in 14th, Jesse Albert in 15th with 36 points. Jonathan Bryan in 16th. Tied with him is Stefan Buckley in 16th. Then we've got Lorenzo Liu in 18th place, Bruce Hopkins in 19th, Samuel Rock in 20th, Scott Taylor in 21st, Scott Hager in 22nd, Eric Tong in 23rd, Jay Vroman in 24th, Jamie Morrison in 25th, and last but not least, Logan Wolf in 26th place. So the race, there's some battles that are going to have to be decided in the last race here. Wojcik has a pretty good lead coming into the last race, so if he has a strong finish, he's going to be able to secure the championship. But anything can happen in the course of a race, so that's why we look forward to the race to see what happens. And we know Suzuka is a very fast track, a very fun track, so it should be a great race. Hope you guys have enjoyed the action so far this season, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.